Hey guys, good morning. Apologize for not being able to get a check-in video out to you guys Tuesday. Um, Stuff got in the way. I had meetings all day that day, and I was going to make up for it on Wednesday, but then I got stuck in meetings all day Wednesday. Um, and I apologize for the degraded quality again. Went to go set up the camera and turn it on, and it says there's a problem communicating with the lens. So apparently, sometime between last week and this week, even though the camera's done nothing but sit on the tripod, something happened with the lens where it can't communicate now. So we're back to the webcam, and for some reason, the software that records it's only seeing it in 4:3 low def. So we took 3 steps backwards. Anyways, I'd like to show you guys some changes in the HID report listener and keep up with the promise where I was going to show you guys a little bit how to use it and decode a new device. So, assuming this still works, I'm going to switch over. Here we go. Okay, so here's the new version of HID Report Listener. Looks basically the same. You're not going to really see any differences. Um, I'm going to be using a Bluetooth drone controller. This guy right here. I keep it in my laptop bag and bring it with me in case I ever, want to bang out some games or something, some little light duty ones. Uh, but I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Let's see if I can remember how to do that. Here we go. Yep. All right, now in the report listener, we now have an option to rescan for hardware devices. So since I just turned this device on, we're going to have to click that, and we'll see it show up here. This device is apparently using like a generic radio that's for project designers or something because it still says Cambridge Silicon Radio instead of having their own product name in there. But we'll go ahead and select it, Bluetooth dongle. Gotcha. And obviously we're heading for the game controller. So here is our report screen. You're probably used to seeing this. But now we have a few other options. You can see this is supposed to be like a hammer and pick to denote settings. Probably need a better icon. That looks like crap. But you click that, and now we have a couple other options other than the normal track. These aren't labeled. I should probably do that. But this first one is going to just be a label where we can put in what the channel is. This bottom one is notes. It'll expand and we can fill in as much stuff in there as we want. And we also now have an option to change the display type. So the default is decimal. We can also display it as hexadecimal or individual bits. So and that's particularly useful in buttons because buttons use bit shifting and multiple buttons map to the same byte. But until we figure out what it is, we're going to switch that back to default. Now, when trying to decode a device, we're going to start with the analog stick. So I'm going to start with the left analog stick, move that around, and I'm doing circles with it, and you see 2 of those bytes are showing up blue, meaning they're changing. You can see the value when they're changing. So now I'm just going to screw with the x-axis and try to pick out which one is the x-axis. And you see byte position 2 is the one changing the most. The other one fluctuates just because I'm not able to keep it in a straight line as I move it. But 2 is obviously our left stick x-axis. So I'm going to go ahead and label that. We'll call that LSX for left stick X. And you see the name pops in there as well. And the other one is obviously our left stick Y. So we'll go ahead and label that too. Now, some controllers make it really easy for you where the leftmost position is 0, the rightmost position is 255. But since this stick is centered right now and it's showing 0, that's obviously not the case here because normally it would display 127 or something close to that in there. So we have to figure out what order it is creating these bytes in. And I'm going to start, right now I'm centered, I'm going to start moving it slowly to the left. So we see it starts right off of center. If we start moving to the left, it starts in the high 200s and then drops as we go further left, which is very strange. But some controllers do it that way. Going to the right, we start in the low, and we go up to 125. So for the sake of argument, let's say that they are still using 127 as the split, and going to the right, it's 0 to 127, and going to the left, it starts at 255 and drops down to 127. Well, we got to split it somewhere. So let's say that to the left it goes from 255 to 127, and going from the right it goes from 0 to 126. As long as it doesn't ever go over 126 here, that's a valid assumption. So not all devices are going to be this difficult, but this one is. So we say going to the left, it's going to be 127 to 255. We have 0 in the center, and then going to the right, it's going to be 1 to 126. And you can note it however you want, whatever's comfortable, as long as it's, you know, easy for somebody to understand. This is how I understand it best. I got the bars here which show me where my center value is, and then I have 2 ranges on either side which show me if I'm going to the left, I'm starting at 255 and then I'm going down to 127. If I'm going to the right, I'm starting at 1 and then I'm going up to 126. So that's how I like to note it. That may vary for different people. I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to quickly look at the Y, and it looks like the Y does the same exact thing. So we can copy and paste this, save ourselves a little trouble. And most devices, once you figure out what one joystick access controls like, they're all going to be the same. So this probably holds true for all the axes. I'm working on the right stick now. Looks like we got right stick is byte 4 is the x-axis and byte 5 is the y-axis. So we're going to say right stick x, and that control format's the same. Right stick y, and that control format is also the same. So there we go, we got our sticks are now figured out. It is time to head to some buttons. Let's go ahead and start with our face buttons, our A, B, X, Y. Alright, I'm pushing A, B, X, Y, and it looks like it's over there on byte 7. Now, since all these buttons are going into the same byte, it's helpful to switch this to bits view, because that is what's actually happening. So now, if I push the buttons one at a time, you see each of those different bits are lighting up. And while we're at it, there might be some other buttons in there as well. Let's go ahead and go through our buttons and see if there are. Okay, we got shoulder buttons in there as well. How about our system buttons? No. No D-pad. Okay, so that is face buttons and shoulder buttons. Yeah, let's call them bumpers. That's what I think most people call them. Now, we have to figure out which bit position each of these are in. Now, bits are numbered starting at 7. This is the 7th bit. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. So it starts at the right, and it starts with position 0. So what I'm hitting right now is the A button, and the A button is in bit 0. So we're going to go ahead and label that. Bit 0 is our A button. And we're going to go ahead and try to find bit 1, which is going to be our B button. Nice and convenient there. Let's try to find 2. No, maybe there is no 2. There is no second bit filled. Okay, let's go on to 3. Okay, 3 is X. We're going to go ahead and put a question mark for 2. Go on to 3, which is our X. And I'm going to assume 4 is Y. I would be correct. 0. 4 is going to be Y. And we also have our shoulder buttons. Let's see where that's at. That's number 7. That's number 6. So we're skipping another byte again and going to 6, which is our left shoulder. So 5, who knows? 6 is our left shoulder. Well, the left bumper. Okay, there we go. And 7 is going to be our right bumper. Alright, there you go. We have the bit layouts now for that byte. And we have all the buttons in there. So that we can move on now. I'm looking at byte number 8 right now. It looks like that's my left stick clicking in. It's also the 2 system buttons, the select and start. And it is also the triggers. And again, this is buttons, so we're going to go ahead and switch this to bits view, make it easier. And we're going to try to find our lowest one, which is 0, which is going to be my left trigger. So 0 is left trigger, 1 is the right trigger. We'll call this MISC buttons because it seems to be everything else. So 0 is our left trigger, 1 is our right trigger. Let's see if we can find number 2 now. No, too high. There it is. Select is number 2. And start is right next to it, which is number 3. Moving along, the only 2 that I think that are left in this byte are my sticks. Alright, so left stick is 5, right stick is 6. So we're skipping a couple here. And that leaves us not knowing if there is a 7. Because I think we are out of buttons on this device, except for our hat switch. You have a hat switch. Let's see, 2. Okay, now you see there's a 3 in there. Even though this is buttons, when you see numbers that aren't powers of 2, meaning 0, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, if you see numbers that aren't in there, that aren't powers of 2, that means it's not truly buttons, it's just throwing hexadecimal values, which sort of look like buttons. So we're going to keep that displaying as decimal and try to figure out. So I'm hitting, right now, that's with nothing selected. So 8 means it's neutral. I'm going to go ahead and label this. So 8 is neutral, centered. Top right is going to be 1. To the right is 2. Lower right is 3. Bottom is 4. You see a pattern happening here. It looks like it's numbered sequentially clockwise. So that's easy enough, with up being 0. Okay. So 0, and we're going to use cardinal directions for this. So 0 is north, 1 is northeast. Oh, sorry, I skipped 2. 2 is east. 3 would be southeast. 5 fill these in. Northwest. Okay. And we already have north, so that's the end. So we should have 0 through 7. Yep. And there we go. That's our D-pad. So it looks like that's our full device there. I'm hitting everything, and all the ones that I labeled are lighting up. Byte positions, I'm sorry, 0 and 1 seem to be unused, or maybe they convey some sort of connection data, something like that. But we're not too worried about that. We have the information we need to understand the device. So, new feature in this report listener. Now that I've filled all that information in, let's go ahead and hit export. I'm going to export it to the desktop, and it's going to automatically name it as the vendor ID, product ID, and device name. And it's a JSON file, so we're going to go ahead and save that to the desktop. And it pops up here. We're going to go ahead and take a peek at it just to see what's in it. And here it sends me all the information I might need. Actually, some of this stuff I don't need. Some of this stuff is useful. What's really useful is the input length, the output length, the vendor ID, product ID. I need all those. Device path, that's important for me. And then down here, all the labels and notes that we typed in, which are in all the different positions, the index positions for the bytes. You see the formatting is a little, it adds a little extra characters in there because of the formatting for putting it in JSON, but that's okay. Once I decode the JSON file, it's a lot more readable for me. But anyways, you go ahead and you send this file to me, and as long as your notes are good, I should be able to add the device into InputMapper. So there you have it, guys. Quick and dirty demonstration, start to finish. This is all I need for you guys to do for me to add devices to InputMapper. As long as your notes are good enough, I shouldn't have any issue. It'll still require a little testing because some devices do have some quirks when it comes to connecting and disconnecting. Some devices have like sleep timeouts and all that stuff that I need to account for. Some of them are constantly sending data. Some of them block until there's new data to send, such as this one actually. But that's stuff that I can figure out with, a couple test builds and send it to whoever sends me the device information. They can test it out and tell me if it works. All right, guys. Again, sorry for the weird format and the delay and everything else that happened today, but hopefully this is usable. Hopefully the audio is good and I didn't just sit here flapping my jaw for 20 minutes for no reason. So, all right, guys. Hopefully we will be back to the normal schedule next Tuesday. I have no idea if I'm going to do a Tipsy Tuesday next Tuesday. If I do, it's certainly not going to be with Mass Effect Andromeda. I have been severely disappointed by that game. I'm going to hold out and see if BioWare releases a lot of changes. I know they're patching it a little bit here and there, but the things that I really want to see patched, like the storyline and some of the voice acting, I have no idea if they are going to change it. And if that's the case, I'm going to wait until that thing drops in price, because it's not a $60 game for me right now. So, all right, guys, that'll do it. See you Tuesday. Have a good one.